Hello, my name is Rachel, and I'm here with my massive birthday book haul. Basically, I bought a lot of books this month because I have no willpower. I was doing so good this year. I really was not buying a lot of books, and then March hit, and it is the month of my birth, and I just went crazy. The closer we got to my birthday, the worse the willpower got, so it wasn't good. But I got 3 books for free, which I feel like they don't count in the guilt pile, so let's do those first. All 3 of these books I won from the publishers, and I'm so excited to have them. In their own way, I really want to read all of them, whether they're kind of famous or not, so I'm pumped. So the first one is called All Is Not Forgotten by Wendy Walker, and this is marketed as a psychological thriller, which is kind of a buzzword for me. And I believe this girl is attacked and they try to wipe her memory or something along those lines, so that just kind of intrigued me, and I'm pretty excited. And this book comes out in July. Next, I want a copy of The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, which is either the second or the third book in the Cormoran Strike novel series, and I don't remember which one. But my mom and I are actually going to be pair reading the first in this series, so I'm very, very excited that I got my hands on this one. Next, I got We Believe You, Survivors of Campus Sexual Assault Speak Out by Annie E. Clark and Andrea L. Pino. I just think this has the opportunity to be a really important book, and I just jumped at the chance to read it. Next, I got to meet several authors this month, and of course that means buying books. So the first one was Victoria Schwab, and I already owned several books that I had her sign, but one I did not own yet was Vicious, so I went ahead and picked it up, and I got this one signed, and I'm really excited to give this one a read because I've heard such great things about this. I really have not heard any negative feedback, and I love V.E. Schwab's writing, so I absolutely had to jump on this and get it signed while I was there meeting her. Next, I got to go to a young adult panel that was sponsored by Penguin Teen, and it was this short little tour that went through with all of the top authors at the moment, and they just happened to run through Cincinnati, and I was so excited to meet them. And I actually had about half of the books already, and then I bought the other half. So the first book was one that I actually got the 2 days before we met this author, and the timing was just amazing, and that is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I was actually sent this in a subscription box, and I just thought the timing was amazing, so I was able to take this one in and get it signed. And I have to say, just from the hype for this book, I wasn't super pumped about it, but after listening to her talk about it, it really inspired me to want to read this book. So I'm very excited that I got this one signed and that I now have it in my hands. Next is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. She was also there, but I'd already gotten this book signed, so I just had her sign some posters and bookmarks that she had available for some of my students and friends, and yeah, we read this one last month and it was awesome. Next was Rachel Hawkins, who wrote Rebel Belle, and I did have this one already, but I got it signed, and I really thought about getting Miss Mayhem, but I held off. And now I'm kind of torn as to whether I should have gotten it, but you'll see once we get done why I had to wait, because I got so many books this month. Those I already owned. These next 3 are ones that I bought in preparation for the signing, and had to get them signed. Had to get them signed. And the first one is The Dark Days Club by Allison Goodman, and she was awesome. I loved her accent, and she totally sold me on this book, and I got it signed, and I'm so pumped to read it. And I really didn't realize that she also wrote Eon and Iona, and now I'm kind of excited to read those as well. I don't own those, but before I heard her talk, I really hadn't thought about it, but I don't know. It just seems interesting now, especially after listening to her talk. I feel like I would really relate to her writing. So we'll see. After I read this one, we might get those as well. Next was April Genevieve Tucholke, maybe, possibly. Who knows? I mean, look at that name. I don't know. But she edited the collection of scary stories for kind of teenage, and it is Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, so I picked this one up because I've been eyeing it for a while, and I'm hoping I can save this until October, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. And then I also got her new one, which came out on my birthday, so I had to get it, which is Wink Poppy Midnight, which I am super excited about, and it's really thin, so I think this is going to happen soon. So those were the authors that I got to meet, and while I was at Joseph Beth meeting these authors, I came across The Name in the Wind, the big sloppy paperback copy, and I decided I needed to have it because I've heard so many good things about this book, and when they had this floppy copy, I decided this needs to happen. So I also got that one the night I met all the authors. The rest of these books are just books that I kind of sporadically gathered throughout the month as my willpower deteriorated. First, I have Out of Easy by Ruta Sepetys. I've yet to read one of her books, but they all sound so amazing. And I didn't even know this one existed, but when I found out it was based in New Orleans, I just wanted to have it. I just thought that sounded like such a great storyline, and I'm hoping to have just a Ruta Sepetys just marathon. So I had to get this one. Then I picked up a book that I'd heard about but had never actually seen in person, and I'm just so excited for this. And it's called Horror Store, a novel by Grady Hendrix, and basically it's like a horror story that takes place in IKEA, and like the cover looks like the IKEA magazine, and I don't know. I just think that's hilarious. So I wanted to pick that up and give that a read. Next, I picked up the first two books in the Jo Nesbø series, and I believe Harry Hole is the detective in all of these. So the first one is called The Bat, and the second one is called Cockroaches. And I think I'm going to be reading these with my mom in the coming months. So we wanted to pick up the first two books. Next, I picked up Life as We Knew It by Susan B. Pfeffer because I didn't realize it, but I purchased the second book in the series, which is The Dead and Gone, and I didn't realize it was a second one. So I wanted to get the first one so I'd be ready to actually dive into the series. And this is another kind of like dystopian, the world's coming to an end series that I was recommended. So I wanted to get the first one so I could actually read the one that I owned before. And then next I got In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, and it was kind of funny. My mom and I both randomly picked this up within a week of each other, so I think we're gonna read this together. And this is one of like the main true crime stories, and I'm not really sure why I haven't read it yet, so I wanted to have a copy. Next, I picked up You by Carolyn Kepnes, and I've heard nothing but good things about this book, and just from the sounds of it, I think I'm gonna love it, so I went ahead and picked it up. Next, I got Nowhere But Here by Katie McGarry, and I picked this up mostly because I've just been hearing such buzz about the second book, which is called Walk the Edge, that was just released, and I wanted to get in on this series, so I decided what better time than now. Next, I got Drive by James Salas, and I heard the book was better than the movie, and I haven't really thought about the movie yet, but this was short, and it has Ryan on the cover, and I thought, why not? Let's go for it. Next, after having read my first Jenny Han book, I just fell in love with her writing and her writing style, so I wanted to get into the trilogy of The Summer I Turned Pretty that I'd heard so much about here on BookTube, and I happened to come across this behemoth at Target, and this has all three of the books in that trilogy, and I mean, this is a honking book. So I'm not sure if this is all gonna happen at once or if we're gonna break it down, but I thought, hey, it's a reasonable price and I want to read them, so let's go for it. Next, I got The Winger by Andrew Smith, and mostly I got this because I heard good things, but also because it looks so pretty on everybody's bookshelf behind them, and I wanted it on my bookshelf, so I got it. So hopefully this is good so that I can keep it on my shelf. I think it will be. I think it'll be good. The next, I picked up Bad Boys to Go. This is 3 stories that involve some sort of takeout in a romantic relationship, and I just thought that was an interesting idea of how they're all going to tie into takeout. So I thought, why not? This was like a discount one. I think it was like $1. Next, I got The Walled City by Ryan Groudon, mostly because I heard such great things about it and because I'm planning to read it with Read with Friends, which is the Goodreads group hosted by Shannon at Leaning Lights later this year. And I thought, you know, I might as well have it around, so I'm ready to read it when it comes up later this year. Next, I got The Asylum Novellas by Madeline Rowe, and basically these 3 novellas all tie into the villains in the 3 books based on the Asylum series, and basically I wanted to read this for a while, but I couldn't get myself to read them in the ebook format, so when I saw the actual paperback format, I thought I would jump on it. I've read all 3 of the Asylum novels, so I thought this would be interesting. Then I found an actual complete trilogy at Half Price Books of a series I wanted to read, so I went ahead and picked it up, and that is the Slated trilogy by Terry? Really? Terry? Interesting. Terry. There you have it. I had not realized that before. But anyway, it is Slated, and then I believe the second one is Fractured, and then there is Shattered. And I believe this follows the story of teenagers whose memories are wiped. And yeah, that sounded interesting to me. And they had all three at once, so I just went ahead and grabbed them. And then last but not least, a book I was actually given for my birthday by my parents is another copy of Pride and Prejudice. As you know, I collect these, and this is the nice, like, leather-bound edition, and they've got some of the key words, you know, kind of, I don't know what that you call that, imprinted into the front, and it's got lovely little end papers, and it's just such a lovely little copy, and I'm so excited. I love this book. I collect these, and now I have this beautiful copy to add to my collection. So, whew, those are all of the books that I got in this ginormous book haul for this month. Now we're back on the book buying ban for a while, so hopefully the only books that I'm getting will be the book subscription, and we'll go from there. So hopefully I can kind of reel it in this month, and I hope you will keep me accountable for that, because I really don't need any more books at this point. I need to read a lot more of what I have and buy a lot less. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap up for tonight, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.